The Magnificent Battle, Merlin, Arthur's Court, and the Mistress of Time by the Magus. Read by the Magus. Chapter 15. The Girls Save a King. Krysta and Ashur watched as the group of men on horses charged across the meadow before them. The men were also dressed in mail and armor, most of them. Most also had large lances in their hands as they raced across the field in the same direction as the dragon. Though the dragon had not been the object of their chase, the sight of the dragon and the thoughts of slaying a dragon, a fire-breathing dragon, filled the men with excitement. After all, slaying dragons was the stuff of fame and fortune. In their zeal, haste, and helmets, the men failed to notice the girls, who were about 100 yards from where the men were riding. "Wow," Ashur said to Krysta. "That was just in time." "Yes," Krysta replied. "But what happened to that first guy, the one that the dragon knocked off of his horse?" "Let's go see if he's hurt. He saved our lives. Maybe we can help him," Ashur said. The girls ran down the slight incline of the meadow until they came to the river floodplain, filled with tall grass and shrub growth. They looked where the man had fallen, but couldn't find him. They ran up and down beside the river. Krysta noticed that a bank of clouds, accompanied by a chill breeze, was blowing in and covering the face of the sun. She wished she had worn warmer clothes. She was interrupted in her thinking by a yell. "Here he is!" Ashur, having found him. The man was lying on his back. He had ceased struggling, having tried and tried to stand up on the muddy, uneven ground, and was simply resting to try to regain some strength to try again. He was dressed from head to foot in a metal suit. The metal did not shine. As it was covered with a brownish covering of rust, the man had a helmet on his head with the remnants of what had once been a fine bird's feather. Time and elements had reduced the feather to a ratty stick. The visor of his helmet was open, and Ashur could see a scraggly, bearded chin and hear labored panting come from the open visor, along with groans and moans that oscillated with his breathing. It was obvious that this man was not young. Ashur stood over him, soon joined by Krysta. The man looked up and saw them. They could hear words. "Oh, thou blessed Jesu, thou hast sent me angels to minister to my wounds. Nay, thou hast chosen to call me to my eternal reward, and hast sent me these angelic messengers to carry me from this thy earthly place of trial and tribulation to the heavenly home, where I must be judged, and in the mercy of Jesu found to be worthy to be among thy sheep in the green pastures of shepherdage. I repent me of all my sins." The man looked at Ashur. The man looked at Ashur and Krysta. "Angels, carry me up in thy heavenly embrace." "What is he talking about?" Krysta asked Ashur. "I have no idea." The man laid his arms out beside himself. "Thee be angels, I wist it well. I have seen the visage of 1,000, nay, of thousands of fair maidens, but never have I seen such passing fair visages as I now behold. It is not possible that ye be of this earth. This earth has never created such beauty." "What's wrong with this man?" Krysta asked. "I think he banged his head when he fell off his horse," Ashur replied. "In all the courts of Arthur there are none so passing fair, but that ye surpass them all, as the sun surpasses the moon. Take me in thy arms, and carry me to eternal happiness that I'll now receive as my heavenly reward." "Well, I did get that part about getting his arms," Ashur said. She and Krysta each took an arm and raised him up from the ground into a sitting position. Krysta tried to take the helmet off his head. She had to untie a leather string from the back. She took off the helmet. The man, convinced that he was dying, or actually already dead, breathed deeply and closed his eyes in preparation for the flight from here to eternity. "I'll get some water," Krysta said, as she realized that the helmet would make a drinking vessel, push having come to shove. Walking along the bank of the river, she noticed what appeared to be a small spring feeding into it. She dipped the helmet into the running water close by, sloshed it around, and poured it out a couple of times to do what she could to clean the helmet, then put the water in it and brought it to the man. He drank. "Are ye not angels come from another world?" he asked. "Well, from another world, maybe, but we're not angels," Ashur replied. The pain the knight had received from the fall from his horse convinced him that perhaps the girls were not angels, but somehow of this earth. "If they be not angels, from whence do ye come?" he asked. They were about to explain when they heard the sound of horses above them, just out of sight. "They've come back to kill me," the man said. "One way or the other, I shall enter eternity today." "They want to kill you?" Krysta asked incredulously. "Why?" The horses were coming closer. "There isn't time for explanations," Ashur said. "Let's hide him." Fortunately, the fallen knight had rolled under some small trees and bushes. Ashur grabbed a branch that had been broken from a tree and threw it over him. Taking Ashur's lead, Krysta pulled a bunch of tall weeds over him so that he was camouflaged. Just to be sure, they covered him with more reeds and branches that they found scattered around, then hid themselves in the tall grass. Above them could be heard the galloping of horses as the men searched for the fallen knight. The man whispered to them, "Whoe'er ye be, whether angel or no, I plight thee my loyalty. I will serve ye as long as I may, and as long as I breathe. But ye must flee. These men are dishonorable." The girls heard the horses coming back. One of the men shouted, "Pellinore! Pellinore! If fortune is with us, your soul has flown to hell. If we find thee and life remains, we shall aid it on its way." Others shouted, "Kill him!" "They want to kill you?" Krysta whispered to the man. "Certes, it is so," replied the man. It was true. The men, a disreputable set of mercenaries, had been following his trail until they spotted Gladysant the dragon. They had been promised rewards of fat bags of coins if they killed Pellinore. Not that they had anything personally against him or anything. Someone had put a price on his head because some family member had been killed in a joust with Pellinore, in his better days, and revenge came cheap. The men had dreamed of the reward because a lot of beer could be purchased with a fat bag of coins, and they loved beer. Krysta thought only for a moment. Then she walked out into plain view. Ashur yelled at her, "What are you doing?" Krysta looked at the men. The men looked at her. "The man has ridden away," she said. "His horse came back. He got on and rode off. You will not find him here." Ashur was appalled. The men surrounded Krysta on their horses. They were a frightening group, dressed in armor with helmeted heads, swords, shields, and lances. Like the fallen knight, they were stricken with her appearance. Finally one said, "By my body, my eyes have never seen such a one as this. Surely this is the fairest maiden outside of heaven's gate." "Yes," said another of the men. "Let's take her to the castle. Perhaps she will choose me as her husband," he said with a laugh. The others laughed at him. "You? Not even a pig would choose you as a husband, let alone this maiden as fair as heaven can make." With that, the first man rode to her and picked her up, and the whole group turned to ride off. Ashur, who had watched with horror, realized that Krysta's brave act was going to save the fallen man, and that she could not let Krysta face such danger alone. Suddenly she emerged and yelled at the men, "Hey, you forgot someone." The men turned to look at her. "Ah, either heaven has sent us two of its fairest creatures, or else the fiend has come to tempt us with his finest partner." Another knight rode back and grabbed Ashur's arm, throwing her on the back of his horse. "To the castle," said the leader. They all rode off, leaving the man, Pellinore, the most famous dragon chaser in history, the King Pellinore, alive to fight another day. Meanwhile, from the edge of the woods, A blue-robed figure watched the events in the field. He was in a panic. He had been sent to see to it that these two girls didn't live to cause complications in the lady's plans. As he watched, he felt certain that the dragon would make his work easy, certain that it would take care of his task without even the slightest effort on his part. Now Pellinore, the accursed Pellinore, had interrupted his entertainment. Now they were gone, and he was in a panic. He would have to go back to tell the lady that he had failed. Failure was something the lady did not accept easily. As he began his slow and reluctant return, he cursed not only Pellinore, but the fate that he feared awaited him.